most among all active head coaches.
And think about it, he was in the NBA for a long time, too.
A.J. Desai, Patrick Evans, and Steve Devine are officials, and there's a lot of St. John's red in this building. Just about a 3-hour drive from New York City, and a lot of fans have made the trip here to Providence.
At St. John's, they play man-to-man. That's what they're about, and it's a switching, aggressive. They had great overall size. The smallest guy they have out there is Wiltshire. He's 6'5".
Here's the aforementioned Sutton. And that first shot won't go. The rebound to Kadari Richmond.
And the other thing is this team likes to really push the ball up, St. John's.
Richmond left hand, no. And the rebound goes to Isaac Ondekane of Omaha, a Mavericks team that has won 6 in a row, including the Summit League championship game against St. Thomas of Minnesota.
Yeah, think about what Chris Crutchfield has done. They were picked last in the Summit League.
Tony Osborne's three won't go, and the rebound to R.J. Lewis. Lewis, jumper. J.J. White picks up his dribble, gets it back. White for three. And a whistle and a foul inside is going to go on Aaron Scott of St. John's.
Yeah, Rick Pitino wasn't happy. You know, J.J. White, he's starting. Ever since they put him in the starting lineup, it's changed their team significantly. Oh, layup.
And Sutton scores. Summit League Player of the Year, Markel Sutton, a senior out of Tulsa, Oklahoma. Here's Scott, a three. And the rebound goes to Osborne. The St. John's team has won 9 in a row. Omaha comes in on a 6-game win streak. Cameron Thomas pulls it back out with the shot clock at 5. Thomas looking for some help. Into the corner it goes to Osborne. Osborne forces up a three. And the rebound to Richmond.
St. John's forces people to the end of the shot clock a lot.
Wiltshire for three. And St. John's has opened up 0 for 4.
Maybe some early nerves, too, because no one on this St. John's team has ever played in the NCAA tournament.
Ondekane over Zubi Ejiofor. And while the Omaha fans are outnumbered, they are loud on their feet here in Providence.
And they're packing it in defensively. They would rather see St. John's fire all the threes that they want.
Wiltshire misses again.
That's perfect. If St. John's is going to settle for three-point shots, that's right up their alley.
Osborne, corner three. And the offensive rebound to Cameron Thomas. White, that's a deep three. It's good! Timeout, St. John's. Well, Omaha is up a touchdown, Peyton Manning. Omaha, 7-0. Tip off to the final buzzer. Fan work is thirsty work. Refresh with Coke Zero Sugar. Is it the best Coke ever? Omaha, according to the Counting Crows, somewhere in middle America, rather. The enrollment 15,000. Greg the Leg Zerline, Jets kicker, one of their notable alums, but right now a 7-0 lead. St. John's is 0 for 5. They've only attempted one shot in the paint so far.
And look how Omaha's playing defense. They got their heels inside the three-point line. They are going to do this, and if St. John's makes threes, they're going to go home. And that's how they figure it. If we can make them shoot threes, we'll take our chances.
Richmond puts St. John's on the board.
But one thing about Richmond, he is tremendous inside the line. Not a good three-point shooter, but in that line, he's as good as they come.
Ondakane trying to muscle his way by Ejiofor. Good defense by Ejiofor. And Richmond tried to throw it off of Sutton, who tumbles into the photographers.
I don't know. I thought they were trying to eliminate all this banging. There was so much banging going on between Ejiofor and Ondakane. It was... Yeah, I think he missed him when he threw it at him.
He did. 20 on the shot clock. Here's J.J. White. He's got Ejiofor on him.
Ejiofor's used to guarding point guards, the way they play.
5 to shoot. White, his 3 is off the mark, but an offensive rebound to Sutton.
They can't get a rebound.
Thomas for 3. And there is a rebound by Aaron Scott. Kadari Richmond feeds Ejiofor. Back out to Scott for 3. And the rebound again to Omaha. They are out rebounding St. John's 9-5 in the early going.
They are boxing them out so well, it's unbelievable, because they know St. John's one of the best in the country at second chance points.
Sutton's 3 no good. Offensive rebound. This time to Cameron Thomas.
You know, one thing, St. John, I mean, I've done this and it's hard. Sitting around till 10 o'clock at night. Both teams sat around, there's no question. But they got a little bit of, they're a little looser, it looks like, Omaha right now.
And a travel by Omaha. 15:02 to go, first half. Omaha up by 5. You can watch live men's games on your computer, phone, tablet, or streaming device with NCAA March Madness Live. Download now. St. John's struggling to shoot the basketball, and tip your cap to Omaha early.
Well, take a look at how they're playing defense. Look how packed in they are. They want St. John. And the other thing that happens when you play defense like this is you're in much better rebounding position because you're not running all over the place. Make them shoot jump shots, try and keep them to one shot, and hope they miss.
St. John's is 1 of 7 and 0 of 4 from deep. And let's face it, that's not a huge surprise. They're not a very good shooting team, as Lewis hits a 3, a big shot. The big surprise so far to me, Lap, is the rebounds. 10-5 in favor of Omaha.
And the fact that, see now, St. John's is not nearly as good a defensive rebounding team as they are an offensive rebounding team. Give Omaha credit, though, for what they've done on the glass on both ends.
Chris Crutchfield, the Summit League Coach of the Year. Rick Pitino, the Big East Coach of the Year.
And let me say this about Chris Crutchfield. He was Lon Kruger's assistant. That's how Lon Kruger played defense all the time. He was the best at packing that thing in.
Nearly a turnover, but White gets it back.
I think this is St. John's best team with Davon Smith in the game. He's a tremendous defender on the ball.
Shot clock at 5. White, step back jumper. Off the front of the rim, and a foul. Wow. And it's going to go on St. John's. And that's on Aaron Scott, and that is his second foul. Get complete coverage of the NCAA Division I Women's Tournament on NCAA.com. And with that second on Scott, Sidiku Ibinayo comes off the bench for Rick Pitino.
He's had some good games for Rick Pitino. He had 15 at DePaul in a game that R.J. Lewis didn't play because of his injury. He had a groin problem.
He also had 2 threes in the Big East Championship game. Lance Waddles misses the 3 and the rebound to Ejiofor.
They've got to push the pace. Try and beat this team down the floor.
Smith's left open. Misses the 3 and a whistle inside and a foul against Omaha. It's going to go on Josh Strite.
I mean, that time Kadari Richmond was looking to drive it and there was just nowhere to go.
Omaha's 3 of 14. St. John's is 2 for 9, make it 3 for 10. R.J. Lewis with the jam.
The truth is that Omaha's having some problems down this end now trying to get a good shot. Last couple of possessions haven't gotten one.
Omaha started the game on a 7-0 run. St. John's has answered with a 7-0 run. Sutton with 5. Over to Osborne. Left alone for 3. It's good. And that stops the 7-0 run.
This kid made 8 threes in the semifinals of the Summit. 8.
30 points against South Dakota in that one. Richmond. Wow, he's strong, but a foul inside. And that's going to be on Strite again. He quickly picks up his second off the bench. So Strite will come out, and Ondekane returns. I talked to Chris Crutchfield yesterday. He said the key for Omaha was to match St. John's' physicality. And they've done that so far, but R.J. Lewis is starting to heat up.
And he also has shot the ball much better at the end of the year from the three-point line. Here's that full court pressure that is really tough.
Lewis has 8 of St. John's' 10 points, including the last 8 for the Red Storm. Nice pass and a finish by Ondekane. Ejiofor for 3. And the long rebound to Ondekane.
He can shoot that all day.
Drake just picked off Missouri, so another upset here in day 1 as Waddles fires, no good. Rebound R.J. Lewis.
That's what makes him so tough, is Lewis gets the rebound and pushes the ball up. Where's he going?
Left it for nobody. And a timeout. Omaha hanging tough early. They lead by 2.
Coach, with the way this game started, what was the right message for the guys in that huddle?
Well, we've done this almost every single game. Because we're not a great shooting team, we're relying too much on quick shots. Got to be a veteran team, move the ball around and make them play defense. We'll learn our lesson. It's going to be a close game.
Coach, thank you.
You know, they're taking quick shots because basically, truthfully, Omaha's daring them to shoot it. It's not like these shots weren't open. They were open. They just aren't a good shooting team, and they're settling for what this team wants to give them.
Out of the timeout, Sutton with the flush. And Rick Pitino yelling at Davon Smith. Wilcher back on the floor for the Red Storm. Richmond on the wing looking for Ejiofor. Bounces inside. Ejiofor draws a lot of attention. That leaves Wilcher open. He fakes the 3. He dribbles in and off glass for 2.
That was a good move. But I'll tell you what, he had to make it over somebody because they were there in the paint.
White to the corner. Sutton calls for a clear out. Sutton step back from the baseline. No good, but right there is Thomas, offensive board. His putback, and he's fouled. And Rick Pitino does not agree with that call.
I'll tell you, I never would have thought 6 offensive rebounds for Omaha.
Let's take another look at that dunk from our AT&T connected cam.
Yeah, he just rolls to the basket. Nobody gets him. It's like, I think that was Lewis's fault there. He went with the dribbler and just let him go.
There's St. John's foul on Kadari Richmond. That's his first. And checking in for St. John's, Lefteris Leotopoulos, the freshman from Greece, who was speaking Greek with Steve Lapis yesterday at practice.
Yeah, we were talking to each other in Greek.
What were you saying, by the way? I had no idea what was
I said, how you doing? How you like it here? You know, all that stuff.
You could teach me a few
Oh, yeah, for sure.
non-curse words.
Oh, non-curse words? No.
Okay. 3-point Omaha lead. Ejiofor gets a lot of attention and has been quiet so far. Ejiofor is fouled. Shot clock is down to 6 for Zuby Ejiofor, the Big East's most improved player Last year, Ejiofor averaged 4 points and 3 rebounds per game. This year, 14.5 points and 8 rebounds per game. Zuby has good feelings in this building. Back in December, he hit a buzzer beater to beat Providence. You can watch whip-around coverage of all men's games with Fast Break, presented by AT&T. It's in the March Madness Live app.
You know, right now, the pace of the game, the way Omaha wants it, St. John's wants it fast. It's not fast. They're making him shoot a lot of perimeter jumpers, not getting in the lane and keeping him off the glass. I got to say, the first 10 minutes, Chris Crutchfield has done an unbelievable job.
Ejiofor's first 2 points of the night. He's 0 of 1 from the floor. And he'll get a breather next to associate head coach Steve Masiello.
And I think it's a good move for Rick. He brings in Leoftopoulos, who's a good three-point shooter.
And a foul on Leoftopoulos as J.J. White went right past him.
Yeah, he struggled to stay with him on that one off the dribble.
And Leoftopoulos will come out. See the speed already of J.J. White. Good defense by Richmond, but last touch by St. John's.
Yeah, Kadari Richmond gets in there at the last second.
11 on the shot clock for the Mavericks. Sutton, tough shot there. Good defense by St. John's. Shot clock at 5. And the rebound is Smith.
They need this kid to play. Whoa.
Wilcher. Won't go, but Iwuchukwu tips it out to Lewis, who hangs, and it's no good. White, the rebound, and behind the play, a whistle. And a foul is called on St. John's and on Kadari Richmond. That's his second foul.
Yeah, it's got to come out.
So Richmond with 2 points and 2 fouls goes to the bench, and Ruben Prey will check in. Freshman from Portugal who averages 7 minutes per game. St. John's only has 4 points in the paint so far in this first half.
Yeah, the way it's all packed in.
Osborne, a three. His second triple of the night. Smith trying to answer. And the rebound to Osborne.
I mean, St. John's a team that relies on their defense, and right now their defense is not getting it done.
Jason Glover going right at Ruben Prey. Ondekane sets a screen for White. Thomas fakes the 3, takes the 2, and hits. One thing in talking to this Omaha team that we were talking about last night amongst our crew, they didn't get the sense they were going to be intimidated on this stage. A confident group that came here to Providence. Wilcher for 3. It's good.
And let me tell you something, they accomplished the most important thing when you come in as a 15 seed is get off to a good start.
Yeah.
And they've done that.
Ruben Prey with the reach-in foul. That is 6 team fouls against St. John's to 3 for Omaha. Crutchfield telling us that his team is a group of competitors who play with a chip on their shoulder. We've seen that so far.
No doubt. They're playing hard on the glass. They have a great game plan. Rick Pitino has seen this game plan before because everybody tried it in the Big East. It didn't really work that well, but tonight, so far, it's working.
Glover, Smith got a hand on it. Glover recovers, sends it back out with 7 to shoot. White turns it over.
Great job by Iwuchukwu there, really helping out, being really active.
Smith, baseline, and a foul is called. Davon Smith will shoot free throws when we come back. The Red Storm down by 3. Late night in Providence, Rhode Island. A look at our game summary. Omaha has 7 assists on their 8 made field goals. And a short time ago, Evan with Chris Crutchfield.
Coach, you've been able to control much of the first 12 minutes of this game. How do you maintain that type of momentum here?
Don't turn it over. Continue to get good shots on that end. And I think we're guarding pretty decent. We're forcing them to shoot jump shots, so we got to keep doing it.
How are you winning the glass?
Just hitting and boxing out, man. It's been a focus point all week. Hit and box out and go get the ball.
Appreciate the time.
Thank you.
Well, he's talked a lot about toughness, and Chris Crutchfield played football, as we told you, and basketball at Omaha. He was a wide receiver. Talked a lot about toughness with his team. Here's Chris Crutchfield, number 10, a wide receiver for Omaha. Told us that Omaha, the city and the school, have made him who he is today. Very proud to represent the Mavericks now in his 3rd year.
You're doing a great job, without a doubt.
One-point Omaha lead.
And St. John's, the other thing is, they score 35 points a game on turnovers and second chance points. They are not getting those opportunistic baskets tonight at all.
Glover, turnaround. Won't go. And Smith the rebound. R.J. Lewis is slow to get up. R.J. Lewis tonight is 3 for 5. The rest of the Red Storm a combined 3 for 13. Taking a little extra time by tying his shoes as you see Lewis go down there. And he's limping a little bit coming up the floor.
He's a tough kid.
Last year played throughout injuries on both of his shins. Really didn't practice much at all last year. Just got up for the games. Did have an off-season surgery to correct that, and we've seen the results this year. The player of the year in the Big East.
That's a bad pass.
It'll stay with St. John's. 11 on the shot clock. Wilcher sends it back to Lewis. Shot clock at 5. Lewis calls for a screen. He'll pop a 3. Wow. Nowhere close, and the rebound to Strite.
They got to find a way to start disrupting this team down here. Even though this team's not shooting that well, they're not turning it over. And that's what St. John's needs. They need turnovers and transition like that.
Iwuchukwu providing a boost off the bench. St. John's, Kadari Richmond and Aaron Scott continue to sit with 2 fouls apiece. Lewis's pass is blocked, but he gets it back. Smith for 3, and St. John's has its first lead of the night.
Davon Smith is their best three-point shooter by far. He's a guy who could turn this kind of a game around.
8-0 run for Pitino. Sutton flies in, and where's the defense?
I mean, that was... Rick Pitino can't believe it.
He gets Ejiofor off the bench. Prey, a 3! Ruben Bray was 2 of 15 from deep before that shot.
Ejiofor still at the table, though. He's not coming back, in case you're wondering.
Chance of defense from this large contingent of St. John's fans.
I agree with you. Iwuchukwu's done a really good job since he's been in. You're going to see here, I mean, that's not good defense. And then Bray with the 3 coming off the screen.
Now you look at Prey, 7 minutes a game this year. Iwuchukwu, 7 minutes a game. The St. John's having this foul trouble. Those 2 guys especially have done a good job stepping up. White for 3, and Prey goes up to get the rebound, and he's fouled. And the foul's on Strite, which is his 3rd.
And they don't have a real deep team, this Omaha group. They play 8 guys. That's it.
Ondakane comes back in. St. John's starting to heat up from the outside. They began this game 2 of 9 from deep. Since then, they're 3 for their last 4. Their last 3 field goals are all from beyond the arc. Wilcher hunting for more. Another 3.
Now all those shots that they're giving them, now they're making them. But they also have been, their defense has improved down this end.
This is a road game right now for Omaha. Sutton for 3. Almost banked it in. Rebound to Smith.
I thought J.J. White had a layup there.
Smith. Off the front of the rim, and the rebound is grabbed by Ondakane.
Great box out by Ondakane that time, too.
Omaha in a 2-minute scoreless drought. They trail by 6. White dribbling through traffic and throws it over the backboard. Prey saved it, but it was out of bounds. It'll be St. John's ball when we come back. And the Red Storm have found another gear against the Mavericks. Love the Drake, Jamie. Love the Drake. As you look at our tournament summary, a couple of upsets already here in Providence today. Big Ten, Big East, each going 2-0. St. John's trying to make the Big East 3-0. They lead by 6.
How about Drake? Slowest playing team in the country. Ben McCollum comes from Northwest Missouri State, brings 4 Division II guys. He starts 4 D2 guys on a team that won an NCAA tournament game. Unbelievable story.
From D2 to the second round of the NCAA tournament. Nice feed, Wilcher to Ejiofor, and he's fouled. Well, CBS April 3rd, America's favorite news show is Matlock, starring Critics' Choice Award winner Kathy Bates. Catch a new Matlock Sunday, April 3rd at 9/8 Central on CBS and streaming on Paramount+. In the first 11.5 minutes of this game, St. John scored 14 points. In the last 4 minutes and 45 seconds, they've scored 14 points. Now 15.
Their defense has really gotten better and given them some better opportunities down the other end.
Ejiofor just drew his 4th foul of the half.
You know, I read a stat, Andrew, that Rick Pitino, as a 1 or 2 seed in the NCAA tournament, his average margin of victory in the first round, 31 points.
First to take 6 different schools to the NCAA tournament.
And the last title that he won at Louisville, he had a team that wasn't a good shooting team either.
True. Defensive intensity has definitely picked up. Osborne, a deep 3, no good. A whistle inside. And a foul against St. John's.
A lot of fouls on rebounds.
Coming up, AT&T at the half. Get all the scores and highlights, plus the latest tournament news. It's all coming up on AT&T at the half.
And I'm sure now Kadari Richmond not coming back in with those 2 fouls.
Well, it's been a 16-7 run for St. John's since Richmond went out.
And you know, Andrew, one thing we got to keep in mind, St. John's maybe the best second half team in the country. They outscored their opponents in the second half by like 9 points a game. They're unbelievable in the second half.
Ondakane, a 54% free throw shooter, but calmly knocks in both. It's a 6-point game as we approach 3 minutes to go.
And they're going under every screen.
Wilcher no good. The rebound to Ondakane. And Omaha still doing a really good job on the glass. +5 against St. John's. They're not getting it done on this end, though. Only 1 field goal in their last 6 minutes.
Wide open.
Still can't hit.
You got to push this. They're not really pushing the ball like they normally do.
Ejiofor trying to spin. Omaha wanted to travel, no call. Prey. And Ejiofor could not grab the offensive rebound.
The tempo of this game has been all Omaha. Slow. That's what they want. Good pass.
And Sutton finishes inside off the feed from Ondakane. 8 points for Markel Sutton. 12-4 Omaha in the paint. Lewis turns it over. Osborne races the other way. Wilcher back. Osborne, bad shot, but Waddles rejected. Ejiofor to our statistician, Ethan Cooperson. Coop does it all.
He saved the basket there.
Ejiofor, the team leader in blocks, and adds another one to his total. Sutton again off the feed from White.
I mean, the pick and roll defense, not good.
Omaha scored the last 6 points to cut it down to 2 with 1 minute to go. Ibinayo, his 3 no good. Another rebound for Omaha. Omaha has a timeout if they want to use one before the half.
They're going to run this down as far as they can.
Sutton nowhere close. Shot clock does not reset. Thomas has to put it up. He does. It's no good. That didn't. I don't know if that hit the rim.
I got to tell you, I don't know if that hit the rim.
Oh, if it did. And now Omaha will call a timeout with 21 seconds to go. It will be Omaha basketball. They trail by 2.
He's been a one-man wrecking crew.
He has 10. St. John's as a team has 16. Oh my goodness, Omaha turns it over. White dribbled it right off his leg.
Only their 4th turnover of the half against a team that forces almost 16.
Final 10 seconds of the first half. Smith to Iwuchukwu, counted and one!
I've seen some energy from Iwuchukwu in this game on the defensive end of the floor. He's had a couple of really good possessions. Now he makes a really strong finish because they were trying to foul him there, and he's able to finish it.
I understand your point. Only 4 turnovers for Omaha. You just felt that that's a really big one there. Could have held the last shot of the half.
Totally agree.
And now you see what happens at the other end.
Yeah.
A 5-point St. John's lead.
They caught a big break by being able to get that ball when it was out of bounds and had 20 seconds to go. You're 100% right.
White for 3. Almost. The St. John's bench scores 11 points to 0 for Omaha. And at the break, St. John's, after an early 7-point hole, leads by 5. Back in Providence, let's take a look at the degree first half stats. St. John's only 3 offensive rebounds, only 6 points in the paint, out-rebounded by 10, yet they have the lead at the break. And back courtside with Steve Lapis, I'm Andrew Catalan. We'll hear from Evan Washburn in a moment. We don't want to go any further without acknowledging the passing of our colleague, Greg Gumbel. He died in December. All of us are wearing these pins today with Greg's initials on them. He would have loved a game like this. The tournament is not the same without Greg Gumbel, and we're all thinking of Greg on this day.
Yeah, I mean, what he did, when I first met him live, because I watched him all those years, he was the nicest guy, made me feel like I knew him for years. He was that kind of person.
Thinking of Greg this day and always. He was a big part of this tournament, and he always will be. Start of the second half here in Providence. The winner will take on Arkansas in Saturday's second round.
I think Rick Pitino probably ripped into these guys pretty good at halftime, if I had to guess.
Lewis a 3. And a good start to the second half for the Red Storm.
The thing is, the Red Storm missed 17 shots in the first half and only got 3 offensive rebounds. That's like unheard of for them. Now here comes the full court pressure.
Aaron Scott limited to 6 minutes in the first half because of foul trouble. Kadari Richmond played just under 10 minutes because of the 2 fouls.
So you got to give the bench credit. They did a pretty good job.
Outscoring Omaha 11-0 in the first half, the bench. Sutton lost it. Oh, last touch by St. John's as we check in with Evan.
Spoke to Chris Crutchfield about that first half and maybe the approach in the second half. 6 3-pointers for St. John's. They only averaged 5, and that was the clear approach, and don't expect that to change. They're going to allow them to shoot those threes. Obviously, Coach Crutchfield didn't want to see them get one right out of the gate. Wants them to continue to own the glass if they can, and if they can hit a few shots, that's going to be critical to pull off this upset.
Well, I mean, that's the game plan. If they make threes, you're going to go home. You have to stop. You have to give them what it is they don't like to do, and that's what Omaha has done. But now we're seeing St. John's, one of the best second half teams in the country. We've seen that. They come out just differently in the second half.
5-second call against Omaha puts the ball back in the hands of St. John's. And this man, R.J. Lewis. Ejiofor fighting for the rebound, and a foul is called against Omaha. Ondekane with a push, his second foul.
I was talking to Matt Abdelmassi at halftime, who's their general manager. I said, hey, what's going on? He says, we do this every game. It drives us nuts, but we do this every game.
Good look. Ejiofor to Richmond. It's the largest lead of the night for St. John's, up by 10. Some rare paint points for St. John's, just 8 tonight. Osborne fakes the 3 to the free throw line. His jumper is good. He's got a good looking stroke. Osborne with 8 points.
Yeah, he's playing well.
Richmond for 3. Ejiofor the offensive rebound, and he's fouled.
Take a look at this out of bounds play and look at Kadari Richmond. So smart what he does here. He takes the ball out of bounds, but watch what he does. He fakes here, and then he goes back into the post area and ends up by himself for a layup. Good move without the ball by Kadari Richmond.
Scott. It's good. They're calling it a 3. They may look at that during the next media timeout, but for now, a 3. And the first field goal of the night for Aaron Scott. Osborne trying to answer. And Scott trucks down the rebound. 2-on-1 the other way. Lewis and Wiltshire. Lewis with the hammer.
It's amazing what they do in the second half, these guys. Must drive the coaching staff nuts.
Chris Crutchfield wants a timeout, and this place explodes in red. A 10-2 run to open up the second half for St. John's.
Yeah, what a fast break that was. R.J. Lewis, he knows how to finish them off, that's for sure.
We said it at the time, and who knows how it may have played out, but Omaha was within 2 points, and they had the ball late in the first half. They turn it over. Since then, 13-2 in favor of St. John's.
That could be a big spot there, Andrew.
Now the Mavericks are 3 of 20 from deep tonight. Where do they turn for offense?
They got to try and drive it a little bit, but right now this St. John's team, they've picked up the heat big time.
Great defense by Scott, who takes it away.
Not much they could do. The defense has really picked it up, and look at this guy taking it to the basket.
Ejiofor misses the follow, but he is fouled.
What a great job by Scott there. Just gets his arm straight up in the air. And those, Kadari Richmond usually finishes those.
J.J. White commits the foul. Sends Ejiofor to the free throw line. St. John's is 8 of 8 from the free throw line tonight.
And that's another area where they have struggled big time this year.
They entered number 290 in the country, shooting 68% from the line.
When you think of the year they've had, Andrew, they don't shoot fouls well, they don't shoot threes well, and here they are with 4 losses and by a combined 7 points. That's how far they were from being undefeated.
And Rick Pitino said it earlier this year. He said the numbers and wins defy all statistical logic, as Thomas lays it in, but that tells you how much effort they play with.
Oh no, they play. Every coach who played against them, Sean Miller, I remember, every guy comments how hard they play. No better compliment for a coach than for people to say they play really hard.
Scott, a 3. 9 3-pointers tonight for St. John's. Their season high is 14.
It's really down here that they picked up. I mean, Ejiofor has been much more active than he was in the first half. I will tell you that.
Osborne baseline, and Wiltshire is called for the foul. From tip-off to the final buzzer, fan work is thirsty work. Refresh with Coke Zero Sugar. Is it the best Coke ever? So Tony Osborne goes to the free throw line. Mound City, Missouri is where he's from. Grew up on his dad's farm. Last year averaged 7 points per game. This year up to 12 points per game. Thirteenth year that Omaha has been a Division I program. This is the first time they've made the NCAA tournament. 48-33 with 16 minutes to go. Wiltshire. A pure stroke of Simeon Wiltshire, the native of Plainfield, New Jersey.
Yeah, way too easy. I mean, he pulled up from 15 feet, no problem.
St. John's is 6 of 9 this half. Look at Scott diving to the floor.
He's an unsung hero on this team. Big-time glue guy.
What a steal by Richmond. Couldn't hold on. White sends it back out. Osborne for 3. Kadari Richmond tips it right to White. Glover. His 3 won't go. Another offensive rebound. Ondekane. And Scott just stands tall and takes it away.
Just goes straight up.
Scott again. Not this time. Lewis tried to save it and goes crashing behind the basket. St. John's pulling away in Providence. Longest active tournament droughts without a win among major power conference teams. Georgia hasn't won since '02. They lost again. St. John's 2000 with Mike Jarvis. The last time they won a tournament game. Nebraska has never won a tournament game. Where were you in 2000? Well, Rick Pitino was the head coach of the Celtics. Steve Lapis was the head coach at Villanova. I was a junior at Syracuse. And Evan, 9th grade. And why is the yearbook picture black and white?
Hey, yeah, that really makes me feel terrible that I was in the middle of my career and Evan Washburn was in 9th grade. I mean, come on.
Severn School, we do it like the classics. We like to keep it black and white.
Yeah, at least
I think the lettuce still looked pretty good
white.
in 9th grade there. The lettuce was strong. I didn't.
Wow, I mean, that's
In
not
sync
a
was
surprise.
big, you know.
Evan, the lettuce is never a surprise. Evan has graduated from 9th grade to jumping on trash cans in the NCAA
Come
tournament.
a long way.
2000, Mike Jarvis, last time St. John's won a tournament game. 5 to shoot, rejected by Ejiofor. Glover gets it back. Shot clock's going to expire. A foul. A foul as the shot clock was winding down.
Oh, didn't see a foul there. And St. John, this is kind of an anomaly for them tonight. They only have 10 points in the paint, yet they're up 17 in this game. Normally, they're doing their damage in there.
Josh Strite, the senior from Watkins, Minnesota, transfer from North Dakota State. And Glover keeps it alive. Waddles for 3. And the tip in by Strite.
Yeah, they have not done a good job on the defensive glass, St. John's.
Those are the first points off the bench for Omaha tonight. Lewis for 3. That's pure.
I'll tell you what, if this kid is going to shoot the ball the way he has shot it the last 6 games of the year, I mean, he's a pro as it is, but that will help him a whole lot.
He's 4 of 5 from deep. Osborne, baseline, sends it out to Waddles. Extra pass. Glover drives in. No good. Follow not there. Ejiofor the rebound. Smith to Lewis. Ibinayo. A 3 won't go. Lewis trying to save it. Again goes crashing into the stands.
R.J. Lewis going after that ball. Look at this hustle. And that is
Wow, what a play.
That is some play.
That is awesome.
He looks like a wide receiver who keeps his feet in bounds. How do you like
Look
that
at you. NFL Today. Steve Lapis. Put him on there. Lewis from the outside. It's good again.
11 threes for St. John's.
Well, look, I think when people would ask you about St. John's, what do you think about St. John's in March? It was always their great defense, their great coach. But, you know, who knows if they have one of those bad nights shooting. If they shoot like this, I mean, there's no telling where this team could end up.
No, they could win the whole thing
Yeah.
if they shoot well because their defense is national championship good.
As we see on cue, Aaron Scott with a block.
I mean, they're the #1 defensive team in the country.
Tough pass there by Lewis. Up ahead of the pack, Waddles can't track it down.
I tell you, Scott has really done a great job on the defensive end tonight.
And then Scott grabbing his hand after. Remember, he's playing with torn ligaments in his right thumb. He suffered that injury in the Big East Tournament semifinals. It's all taped up. He'll have a procedure done in the offseason. Rick Pitino joked that he's actually been shooting the ball better since the thumb injury in practice, that he should have torn it a few weeks ago.
Yeah, he's joking. I know. But he's, even with that torn thumb, he has definitely been a big positive for them. And you just saw a good glimpse of what Kadari Richmond does. He misses it, and he's so big and strong and powerful, he finishes it in the lane on the offensive rebound. And he's not having his best game tonight.
Waddles misses the layup. Richmond, what a move! And Rick Pitino calls timeout. Red Storm pouring it on, outscoring Omaha 27-8 in the second half. Back in Providence, a look at our game summary. St. John's shooting 10 out of 16 this half and 5 of 8 from deep.
Yeah, I mean, their three-point shooting and their shooting in general in this second half, they have been a second-half team all year, and they're doing the same thing tonight, but that defense has been really good. They're holding this team to 25% shooting and 13% from three. So the way they play defense, like you said, Andrew, if they shoot like this, who knows what this team can do.
St. John's on a 10-0 run, all 10 by either Lewis or Richmond. This half, Kadari Richmond has 6 points and 4 assists. Three from the corner won't go, and the rebound to Ibinayo. Ibinayo following Rick Pitino from Iona to St. John's. He's one of the leaders of this team.
Oh, edge of four, right? Is he all right?
Yeah, slow to get up. And trying to hobble it off, shake it off a little. He's got the ball here. Shot clock down to 5. He's going to shoot a 3.
I guess he wasn't that hurt.
Scott, no. Out of bounds.
No, he's hobbling a little bit.
Yeah, edge of 4 is grabbing his big toe.
Yeah, they don't need anything happening to him.
He's going to come out, and Ruben Prey will return. So you can see what happens. Took a wrong step there with his right foot.
Yep. He seems to be walking okay.
White is fouled. Good decision for White to attack because Omaha has missed its last 12 three-pointers in a row. J.J. White, the senior from Lawrenceville, Georgia, will go to the free throw line.
I see one thing about St. John's too, Andrew. When I thought in this second half he was so active. He was just much more aggressive on those switches, was more active. He is a huge key to the way they defend.
You can stream CBS Sports HQ, your free 24/7 snapshot of all the sports that matter to you. Catch highlights, in-depth analysis, and breaking news anywhere you are. Download the CBS Sports app to watch today. Davon Smith gets a nice hand from the St. John's fans as he goes out. One more free throw for J.J. White. Scott for three. Ibinayo, the offensive board.
Good pass.
Dish to Prey. And a foul.
Unselfish play. And Prey cuts instead of just standing there and puts himself in the open area.
Obviously, this game didn't start off the way St. John's wanted, but with the foul trouble they were in and how productive their bench has been tonight, that could really be a big boost for them going forward.
It is a big positive.
Getting some confidence as Prey ties his career high with 6 points.
And let's face it, you know, Richmond, Scott didn't play a lot in the first half. They're going to have another game coming up with 1 day rest. It's not the end of the world, as long as the result ends up the way they want.
Sutton nowhere close, and a whistle inside and a foul against Prey. And Rick Pitino has the luxury right now of having Lewis, Ejiofor, and Smith all on the bench.
He'd love to get through this game with those guys not coming back in. We'll see. This is an NCAA tournament game.
White for three.
Good defense.
They've missed 13 in a row from deep.
The rebounding has been a problem.
Finally, the streak is over as White hits from the outside. And that'll get R.J. Lewis off the bench for Rick Pitino. Ibinayo.
Oh, that's not close.
Air ball. Scott catches it. Back out Wiltshire. Deep three. Book it.
Ibinayo's made some really what we call winning plays.
Rick Pitino says that he epitomizes the word team, and you're seeing that in the way he plays as White goes back to back from deep. Good sign for St. John's as Ejiofor is back at the scorer's table. Richmond with a pretty move, and he's fouled with 9:16 to go. St. John's is 6 for 12 from deep here in the second half.
And 12 for 30 in the game. 30 shots from three for them, a lot, but they're going under all those screens. In the first half, they couldn't make them pay. Now they're making them pay. And it's the type of game plan for Chris Crutchfield that he felt like if these start making threes on us, we're going to lose. That was their chance, and St. John's has made them pay for that.
Kadari Richmond named to the Big East All-Second team in his first year at St. John's after 3 at Seton Hall and 1 at Syracuse.
He struggles from the foul line, and he gets there a lot.
54% on the year. That was the first missed free throw of the night for St. John's. Richmond misses both. J.J. White has gone to the bench, but he has scored the last 8 points for Omaha. Grant Stubblefield has checked in for the first time tonight for the Mavs. Thomas a three. Bounces out somehow. Lewis in rhythm three. No good. Glover dribbled it off his foot, recovers. How about the sneakers by Glover? They are lighting up the night.
They are.
And inside a foul as Ondekane will shoot.
Ondakane has worked really hard in the paint tonight. I mean, he's got 11 rebounds. He had 10 of them in the first half.
Ondakane, a native of the Congo. He practiced on his own as a kid in the Congo. Didn't shoot on an actual hoop until he came to the U.S. at the age of 14. Averaged 5 points per game this year for the Mavericks. Aaron Scott hops off the bench, set to check in. Tough pass there by Wiltshire. He turns it over.
Yeah, that was a bad pass. He left his feet, didn't really know where he was going.
Stubblefield rejected by Ejiofor. And that takes us to a timeout with 7:53 to go. St. John's on the verge of moving on to the second round. A tip-off show on True TV at noon Eastern. 16 games across TBS, CBS, TNT, and True TV. It's all tomorrow. You decide the games to watch. Winner of this one will see Arkansas on Saturday, so we could have a Rick Pitino, John Calipari matchup coming your way. How about that?
That could be a doozy, there's no doubt. And let me tell you something. Arkansas's tough. They're a talented team. And they're big. They could give St. John's all kind of problems.
Arkansas pulling away down the stretch against Kansas earlier tonight here in Providence.
Wow, what a hustle from Stubblefield. And look at Rick Pitino. He's not happy about that. That was total sleepwalking by St. John's. Look at that. And then nobody goes after it.
Yeah, Rick's not happy about that one. Credit Stubblefield, the sophomore from Overland Park, Kansas, for making the hustle play.
I mean, look at that kid, down 21.
Let's check in with Evan.
And that was the message in the last Omaha huddle. Just keep competing. They recognize what the score is, but they just want to be physical, compete, get back to owning the glass as best they can. And that was coming from the players before Chris Crutchfield even took a seat.
Yeah, they want to finish strong. They've got pride, and they should. They gave it, you know, they've given it a pretty good go. They're not losing this because of lack of effort, I can tell you that.
Well, all you got to do is go back to the Summit League championship game. They faced St. Thomas in the championship game, but St. Thomas not eligible for the NCAA tournament as they transition from a D2 to D1 team. So Omaha already knew that even if they lost the championship game, they were in the NCAA tournament field. But Chris Crutchfield said that didn't sit well with his team. They didn't like that. They wanted to go out there and win and earn their way into the tournament, and they did in the championship game, even though essentially it meant nothing.
Yeah, they wanted to compete. They're competitive kids, and good for them. And plus, guess what? It's not over yet.
Lewis. Ejiofor. Rick Pitino saying he was so happy to be back in Providence, where he used to coach, leading the Friars to the Final Four in 1987. But he said it was great to be back, and he didn't have to play Providence just to come here. And so many battles over the years against the Friars, as Steve Lapis knows, is a very tough building to win.
I've enjoyed coming back here doing this with you rather than coming here to play.
Well, you always talk about how it's been a house of horrors for you, and look what our camera crew found on the wall.
What?
Look at that.
What?
1 and 8.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Is that true?
That is on the wall. It's on the wall. You know, you always talk about how many nightmares you've had.
Oh,
here.
my goodness.
I didn't know they had that.
Then
on the
why don't you
wall.
put up my record against Connecticut or somebody, which was
we're
a
not
lot
in
better.
Connecticut. We actually have someone on our crew who's anonymous who dug up all these stats. Look at this.
You know what?
Look at this.
Who is this?
I don't know who did that.
If they're going to be with us eating pizza tonight, they're going to have a problem.
I'm not going to read any of those stats, but I know you just looked at them.
Oh, my God.
Not pretty.
But whose idea was this?
I don't know.
This time you'd be behind.
I have nothing to do with this.
I know. I know you.
No, I don't. I wouldn't.
You're
do
the
that to you.
you're the de facto producer here.
No. Nope. I had nothing to do with this. But I'm shocked. A plaque on the wall here at the AMP.
Yeah, I had some rough nights here. There's no doubt. We won more at Syracuse than we won here.
Hey, we're not in Syracuse.
We won more UConn than well. Can I throw in? I can't say something good about myself.
You can defend yourself. Oh, man.
That's great. All right. How come it always happens to me? That's what I want to know.
68-49. St. John's in front with 6.5 to go. And a foul called against Stubblefield. Six fouls against the Mavericks, 7 against St. John's with 6:27 to go. St. John's trying to lock up its 10th consecutive victory. Smith, a corner three. It's good.
They need this kid because he is, even though R.J. Lewis has shot it unbelievably, this kid is the best three-point shooter.
St. John's 1-3 away from matching their season high. Stubblefield is wide open. Misses. Richmond the rebound.
Yeah, Stride had a layup there.
Lewis in the paint. Off glass for two.
Tough.
R.J. Lewis with 21 points. It's the 14th time this year he scored at least 20 in a game. Lap, I know this is a delicate question, but if you're Rick Pitino, a quick turnaround the next round, when do you start thinking about taking some of these guys out?
I think you got to start thinking about it, you know what I mean? Especially a guy like, R.J. Lewis has played most of the game. Kadari Richmond and Scott, well, Scott's not in now. Yeah, I think he's going to probably wait till the 4.
Here comes Scott back in the game.
My assistants used to tell me, hey, coach, you think we could sub? And I said, listen, I don't want to be the guy that coughs up the biggest lead in the history of the game.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Which could happen.
Oh, it's a tough question.
I said, maybe it's a 1 in a zillion chance. What if it's today? But one-day turnaround, a team that should be an up-and-down affair. Let me tell you something.
Oh, no doubt. Nice tip by Scott.
Both those teams want to run, both athletic. There's a lot of potential in that game, let me tell you. Great pass to Zuby,
who lays it in.
I think it may be time now. And it's, you're putting Iwuchukwu in. He's a good player. It's not like you're putting in, a walk-on.
Waddles catch and shoot 3. And the rebound to Lewis. Up ahead, Smith. Richmond joins him behind the back. Smith to Richmond. White shot no good. And then Lewis, took one up by his eye on the rebound. R.J. Lewis Got poked in his left eye. Take a timeout. 3:56 to go. St. John's looking good. It is amazing, Jamie. It really is. Evan.
He's amazing. Jumping on garbage cans, the whole bit.
.356 to go. After all the games are over, Adam Lefko, Jay Wright, Candace Parker, and Seth Davis have all the highlights and analysis on Inside March Madness presented by Buick. That's later tonight only on True TV.
Well, R.J. Lewis is coming out now. Whoa.
They did look at that last play during the timeout to see if there was anything flagrant when Lewis got hit in the left eye. No call. Lewis gets out to a big ovation. 22 points, 8 rebounds for R.J. Lewis with chance of MVP here in Providence.
5 threes tonight. I'll tell you, Iwu Chukwu can move his feet for a 7-foot kid, too.
Osborne puts one up. And the follow is there.
The defensive rebounding tonight has been very sketchy.
Kamani Cooper with his first bucket tonight. Omaha is 5 of 34 from deep. Iwu Chukwu with a 3. He's now 0 for 3 this year from deep. Smith the rebound.
Good extra pass.
Ibinayo on the attack and missed it, but the follow not there either as Smith hits the deck hard. That 3 may have been deflected by Iwu Chukwu, and it's St. John's basketball. And Chris Crutchfield starting to empty the bench a little bit. Sebastian Perry, the redshirt freshman from Oklahoma City, checks in for the first time. Chance of let's go Johnnies from the many St. John's fans who have stuck around as we approach midnight here on the East Coast.
Long time since they won a game in the tournament.
Leotopoulos. Oh, he hits the 3. Go ahead, Lav.
He can shoot, my compatriot. I'm going to have to talk Greek with him after the game, so you don't understand.
No, I don't. I won't. His 5th 3 of the year. Sutton off balance. A foul is called. Markel Sutton, averaging 19 points a game, 10 tonight. He now needs 3 points to set the single season school record in their Division I era. As Scott comes out, high five from Rick Pitino.
Did a lot of good things tonight.
Let's check in with Evan.
Well, Andrews, you touch on the incredible run for Sutton. I thought it was impressive for Rick Pitino to offer the praise. He called Markel a top 4 point guard in the Big East. So that says a lot about the respect St. John's has for Sutton going into this game and maybe what others might think about him moving forward.
And his 3rd year at Omaha after transferring from Connors State. And he goes to the bench to a nice hand from the Omaha fans who made the trip, including some who took a 22-hour bus ride from Omaha here to Providence to watch the game tonight.
Wow.
And a foul is called. Foul is called against St. John's with 1:43 to go. Now the St. John's fans chanting Rick Pitino. Living in the New York area, it's unbelievable the buzz around this St. John's team. It's all anyone wants to talk about, and well deserved. They have completely taken over New York City on the verge of their 31st victory.
And Andrew, in 2 years, you know, I mean, don't get me wrong, this is a new age now because of the portal where you can build things quicker, but 2 years.
The win would tie the school record for wins in a season, along with the 84-85 team and the 85-86 team. Strite misses, and the rebound to Smith with 1 minute to go. Leotopoulos, this three, no good. And out of bounds to Omaha. So we are set up for an incredible matchup of legendary head coaches on Saturday. John Calipari and Arkansas against Rick Pitino and St. John's.
And Calipari 13-10 all-time against Rick. Think Rick knows that?
Oh, I'm sure he will. Half a second difference between the game clock and the shot clock. And after falling behind 7-0, it's been all Red Storm in this one tonight. Taking care of business against the 15 seed in the West region, the Omaha Mavericks, who had a wonderful year, advancing to their first NCAA tournament as a Division I program. Hats off to Chris Crutchfield and the Mavericks. But Rick Pitino and St. John's with their first tournament win in 25 years. St. John's' largest margin of victory in an NCAA tournament game. And Lap, you talked about how this has been a second-half team. They outscored Omaha 50-25 in the second half tonight.
And Rick, we talked about him winning his first-round game when he's a 1 or 2 seed by 31. Only 30 tonight.
Let's update the bracket. And it's the matchup that a lot of people want to see. Calipari and Pitino Saturday in Providence. And Evan is with Coach Pitino.
Coach, first of all, congratulations. I'm curious if I would have told you before this game that Omaha had 24 offensive rebounds, but you guys had 14 threes and won by 30. You would have told me what?
Well, typical of us. We don't play great in the beginning of the game, make some adjustments, but we didn't rebound well. Look, we won by 30. If we block out like that against Arkansas, we'll lose by 30. So we got to go to work on blocking out.
You mentioned Arkansas. Step one was taking care of Omaha. Now you meet up with Arkansas and a guy you've played against a lot over the course of your career, or coached against, I should say, John Calipari. What are your early thoughts on that matchup?
Well, he's done a great job for how many years he's been in coaching, but he had a lot of injuries, and if he's on the bubble and like 7th or 8th place in the SEC, I'm glad we're not in the SEC.
Coach, appreciate it. Enjoy this one, and we'll see you in the second round.
Thank you.
31st win of the year for Rick Pitino sets up a incredible matchup with John Calipari in Arkansas. The tournament continues live now on TBS and True TV. Coverage on CBS begins tomorrow at noon. For Steve Lapis, Evan Washburn, and Gene Steratore, I'm Andrew Catalan. So long from Providence. This has been a presentation of CBS Sports.